until I was 20 years old and got married.
I can just get this directly from that.
Keep people working.
Yes, it's easier that way.
We can't afford to keep it running.
Unless you got.
I read a little bit of it. Here. It goes on and on and on and on and on.
I didn't really do anything but stand.
That's okay.
Well, we just- Let's get on the ball.
All right, good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. Roll call.
Barkley.
Here.
Beck.
Here.
Barry.
Here.
Heller.
Here.
Kessel.
Here.
Coomer.
Here.
McCollum. McCollum. Murphy.
Here.
Platt.
Present.
Sloan.
Present.
Southwood. Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Present.
Widger. Widger.
You're sick all day.
And Williams.
Here.
Quorum present.
All right, would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Member Platt, would you lead us in the vote?
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come together to conduct the county's business. We thank you for the farmers that are about ready to get into the fields. We ask that you would look over all of them, keep them safe, and bless them with a bountiful harvest. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
All right, we have the minutes from the February 14th meeting. I have a motion to approve them.
Make a motion.
Moved by Barry. Second by Murphy. Any discussion? Roll call.
Platt.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood.
Yes.
Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, now the agenda. Any discussion on the agenda? Toomer?
I like to poll, under the consent agenda, letter H, and move it to action under finance.
So H from under finance, you want to pull that from consent and move it to action?
Yes.
Anything else? Okay, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Moved by Coomer, is there a second? Second by Barkley. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood. Spangler.
Yep.
Thompson.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
And Platt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, announcements, communications, and correspondence. First, we have Earl Allen with the U of I Extension to give their annual report. Earl?
Speaking into the microphone.
Yeah, it'll just come up here. Front and center. You want, yeah, use Patrick's mic there.
All right. Good evening, everybody. It's always a joy to get back in Fulton County, come visit the county board meeting a couple times a year. This is the time of year when I hand out our annual report, and I passed one around at each of your spots. You don't need to stop eating your pie, just keep on doing that if you want. Elaine's let me have a piece, and I got it behind my chair, so I'm gonna start on mine when I get done. Tonight, I'm gonna introduce 3 staff, and I'm gonna let them come up and say a little bit about themselves and what they do. But let me just mention a couple things about the report. This year we came out of COVID and we got back to doing what we really enjoy doing, which is face-to-face educational and experiential learning type work. So it was a real joy this year for all the staff to be able to do a lot of these things. And the theme of our report there on the front cover is extension and action. And this cover is Emma Gorsuch from Ipava, one of our 4-H'ers. And she just really depicts to me what extension and action is. And if you look at her face and see the determination and the confidence and the energy that she has, that really shows what we're trying to do with extension, and especially for the youth through the 4-H program. And Crystal Gray, our 4-H coordinator, will be up here in a bit. The only other thing I'm going to talk about is the last page inside the back cover, and that's our staff pages. And in 21 and 2022, we had 11 retirements and 1 person that was promoted up to a state position. And so we lost a lot of staff that way. Part of it was triggered by a voluntary retirement incentive that the university gave. We had 7 people leave about a year and a half ago. So I've been spending the last 2 years filling a lot of those positions. Each position in extension is pretty unique, so you can't really do it in a big cluster. So I hired 4 people in 2021 and 4 more in 2022, and plan to hire 4 more back in 2023. So I'm starting that process now. But 3 of them work out of the Fulton office, and so those are the ones I want to introduce. Their pictures are on that page I showed you, but you can see all the staff. We got 6 staff in the Fulton office, and you may know some of the others because a lot of them work across the unit. But I'm going to let them each come up one at a time and talk about 2.5 minutes on a little bit about their background and what they do for extension. So that's all I'm going to say about the report, but I want to encourage you to read it. And if you get done with it, pass it on to someone else. But take a look at the pictures and the data and read some of the articles. So let's see, Krista, you want to go first? Yep.
Well, good evening. I'm Krista Gray. I know some of the faces in here. Some of you I don't know, but I'm a 30-year resident of Fulton County. I come from Peoria County, but I've been down here all my married life. I have a husband and 2 grown children. Both are married. One of them's sitting over there. He probably doesn't want me to point him out, but his wife is also here tonight. I started with extension in 2017 after spending some time in insurance and in the ag sector. I started out in SNAP education program where I went into the schools and visited kids and did some community reach through that and food pantries. But in 2021, I was fortunate enough to apply for a position that was vacated by one of the people that Earl talked about retiring, Janice Blount. So I followed her after she had a very successful career in 4-H. A lot of you, I'm sure, know her. And so we're trying to keep that momentum going in 4-H. Currently, we have 13 community 4-H clubs that are multi-project clubs throughout all of Fulton County. And we have 3 spin clubs. What a spin club is a special interest club. So those special interest clubs, one of them is 4-H shooting sports, which has been very successful. Another one is 4-H livestock judging team. And the third one is a new one that started just in January. It's a junior master naturalist. So we're in partnership with Canton Park District and some of our master naturalist volunteers. We're really excited about that. First year in, we've got 16 kids there. Currently, we're at 285 members in 4-H, which is a good number for us, and we're still growing. So I brought some pamphlets with me, so if you have any youth that are interested in joining any of these clubs, we'd be happy to accept them. 4-H it's not just livestock, as a lot of you know. we're trying to cater to the families that may not want to join a multi-project club. And so we're doing these special interest clubs, which really has gained a lot of interest in Fulton County. So do you have any questions for me? If not, I thank you for your time.
Lexi, you want to come on up?
Hello, my name is Alexis Gray. I was born and raised here in Fulton County. I graduated from Lewistown High School in 2018, Spoon River College in 2019, and Worsham College in 2020. I was hired on with the University of Illinois Extension in 2021 as a SNAP Education Community Outreach Worker. I provide nutrition education to SNAP eligible audiences across Fulton County. So as long as there is fruit in that pie, I'll allow it. I teach the importance of eating healthy and staying active to youth in Fulton County schools. I also give children the opportunity to participate in a hands-on cooking school during the summer called Illinois Junior Chef. My adult programs are held in person and virtually, and they focus on information to help my audience achieve a healthy lifestyle on a budget. I'm grateful to be a part of such a successful organization that reaches across my entire community. Thank you.
Any questions for Lexi? Okay. All right, Tara.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tara Keith, and I think maybe I'm the only one here that's not from Fulton County, so don't run me out of here. I'm from McDonough County. I'm from Macomb. Was born and raised on a farm just south of Macomb with hogs and cattle and corn and soybeans. I went to school at WIU and got a degree in agriculture, and then went to work at Western Illinois University for about 20 years. I just came to Extension here 2 years ago, and what I do is I help support the Master Gardener program. So I am a horticulture program coordinator. And basically what that means is that anytime that we have programming that's centered around horticulture, around gardening, I'm involved in helping to facilitate that. Our Master Gardeners in Fulton, Mason, Peoria, and Tazewell counties, we have about 144. So while I do work out of the Lewiston office, I kind of split my time around the other counties as well. And we also have a Master Gardener training coming up in June. It will be held from June 5th to June 9th. And basically what that Master Gardener program is it is available to anyone 18 or older that has an interest in gardening and is available to take a pretty extensive training. It's 60 hours of training. So to me, that seems like a mini college degree, but we try to keep it fun. And this summer, like I said, June 5th through June 9th, we're going to do a hybrid style training where our trainees can do a lot of their learning online on their own time. And then when we meet in person, we're going to do demonstrations and hands-on activities and take tours. So we're going to go to Luthi Botanical Gardens in Peoria. We're going to go to Illinois Central College in East Peoria, and we have a lot of fun things planned. So if you or anyone you know is interested in joining our Master Gardener program, send them my way, please.
Questions for Tara? Okay. Thank you for giving me a little extra time tonight. I thought it was important to get these faces in front of you and let you get to know them a little bit. And continue to thank you for your support to our organization, and we'll help you in making Fulton County a better place. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Earl. Let's turn my seat, Krista. Tara, really appreciate all you guys do for Fulton County. All right, moving on. Proclamation. We have another disaster proclamation. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I approve it.
Moved by Barry. Is there a second? Second by Thompson. Any discussion? Roll call.
Southwood. Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Barclay.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Platt.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, next we have a resolution in support of Fulton County Agriculture. Mr. Clerk, would you read the resolution?
Whereas Illinois is home to more than 71,000 farms, 90% of which are family-owned and a third of which include livestock. And whereas Fulton County accounts for 973 of those farms, and whereas agriculture supports 1,840 jobs, which accounts for an estimated 15% of total jobs in the county. And whereas agriculture and related industries generate total sales or output estimated at $371.3 million, and whereas farm property provides 35.5% of taxable value, which provides services to residents. And whereas Illinois farmers support the food security of our citizens. The global pandemic displayed the importance of American food systems, processing, and supply chain weaknesses. And whereas new livestock development accounts for additional jobs, creating additional economic growth within the county. And whereas farmers are dedicated to caring for their animals in ways that also benefit the land, using tools and technology to better manage soil nutrients, water runoff, and air quality on the farm, farmers are using fewer natural resources and reducing their carbon footprint while producing more food. And whereas farmland is a finite resource that is vital to agriculture, food production, and the economic well-being of our county. And whereas farmers in Illinois face multiple layers of regulation involving state and federal agencies, providing a comprehensive, robust regulatory program for all farms, including those raising livestock. And whereas data and information from state regulatory agencies demonstrates environmental issues from agriculture are an extremely rare occurrence. And whereas the county recognizes the value agriculture contributes to our county and the rural way of life is the backbone of our county. Efforts should be made to accommodate future success of the rural community. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Fulton County Board that the board acknowledges and supports agriculture within our county. The jobs created, taxes generated, technologies embraced, and environmental practices implemented by farmers makes agriculture a valuable industry within our county. And be it further resolved, the county of elected board and county staff will work to support and promote the development of agriculture for the benefit of our county and all its residents. Adopted this 14th day of March, AD 2023.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the resolution? Moved by Murphy, second by Coomer. Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Spengler,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barclay,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Platt,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. We got a picture here.
Now the pro's gonna want.
Move your finger, John. You can take a picture of your finger.
You know, that's easy to do.
Thank you. Thank you on behalf of the Fulton County Farm Bureau and the Illinois Agricultural Association. We appreciate you guys' support and continue to look forward to working with this county board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. Next week is National Ag Week. Farm Bureau will be doing a lot of activities along with that. And ag is the biggest industry here in Fulton County, so we want to do everything we can to encourage that and promote it. So thanks again. Thanks for the pot.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, it has been brought to my attention that I skipped over the township I'm not sure how to say it. Decennial committees, something like that. Patrick, you want to go over that?
Decennial Committees on Government Consolidation and Efficiency Act, signed into law by Governor Pritzker last year. It's basically a closer look at the activities of the layers of local government in Illinois. It excludes counties and municipalities. But it's going to be your townships, your school boards, different governing bodies like that. Why it's pertinent to this body is because the reports that come from these, the reports are to be filed with the county boards. So the committees that are created from this law must report. They have 18 months to report their findings of the efficiencies or deficiencies in their governments to the county board. So I wanted to make you aware of that. I know I've been getting quite a few phone calls just trying to explain to folks what it is and what it's about. So if you guys had any, one, I wanted you to know those reports are coming. And then two, if anybody reached out to you and asked you what it was, you guys had a copy of the PowerPoint that was presented by TOI, Township Officials of Illinois. Mr. Murphy.
Are they gonna be just the township committee that's already there, or new?
No, there's gonna be.
There's gonna be a new committee, from what I read.
There's members of the governing body, and then there's gonna be, they have to have people from outside of the governing body that live within that township. So it's gonna be a hybrid of elected officials and
So they have
private sector.
nobody has set it up yet. There hasn't been any set up yet.
No, they have until June 15th to do it.
Yeah.
And now everybody's like,
Yeah.
what's this? So I had to do some research and explain to them what it was. So they can all, all the townships know that they can always call me, but I just, for help, I just wanted to make you guys aware. That's that.
Okay, Castle?
I'm just mentioning this. One of the last two administrations, either under Governor Quinn or Brown, or I can't remember which, had a committee or council or something that went through and made recommendations on how to deal with some of this. And I'm just wondering, I know you don't have the answer to this. I'm just like wondering where that ended up. I know someone that was involved in that process. And we starting over, or can we look at that and see what the recommendations were there and see if they still apply? I know that's not our job. I'm just
Yeah, we don't have to, you guys don't have to do anything. They're accountable to you. I can tell you the Rauner administration's goal was to eliminate layers completely. Obviously, local governments have strong lobbies, and that didn't come to fruition. So this is another attempt at that with a more inverted view on how these bodies work, how efficient they are, and what areas they are deficient in. So,
All right. Thank you, Patrick.
Yep.
Okay, now moving back along, what's on agenda, we're ready for public remarks. I have one from April Tatum. Talk about the CO2 pipeline. Yep. 5 minutes, April.
So some of you, I'm back again. So I was here 3 times in the fall to talk about this. But I know that we have a lot of new people on the board, and I thank you for that service. And what I wanted to do is make sure that everyone that's here, because it is a new board, has the same information that the previous board had. And a couple of updates, and just wanted to point out that a moratorium was passed in October. And that moratorium was based on the fact that the federal government had released information saying that these pipelines needed more regulation or to be looked at more closely. The problem is that the federal government is not going to release that until about 2024. Go figure. So we are in the middle of a pipeline with CO2, which is not something that that we have a lot of experience with, and that is being brought to us now. They are not willing to wait until 2024 when those things have been released, and so anything that happens from this point on will be grandfathered in. I wanted to point out a couple of things. The Navigator did file an application at the Illinois Commerce Commission. They then did withdraw that application based on the recommendation of some people at the ICC, and then they refiled the application. So the application was refiled very recently, which means the clock starts all over again, and the intervention process starts all over again. I will tell you that at this point, I also am aware that each county is receiving agreements with money attached to them. Those agreements are supposed to be in lieu of tax dollars that other states can capture, but the state of Illinois is not tax pipeline. So the agreement, they have said that when I was at a meeting clear last year, Navigator representative said there may be money. Well, now the agreements have come out. It's interesting, the timing of the agreements, because the agreement came out at a time between the filings. The agreement does say on it, and I'm encouraging you to please look very closely at those agreements, but I'm also encouraging you not to sign it at this point. If they are, as they have said, honest about this being in lieu of tax dollars, why would it not be here as we move forward? So it does not have to be signed immediately. There's nothing in it that says that. The second thing, as you look at that agreement, and McDonough County was one of the first counties to receive it because they are intervening. They stand to gain $630,000 per year based on the number of miles that it's going to cross. They took it to committee and it stayed in committee. They did not bring it out of committee, and they did vote to intervene again. So our neighbors have chosen to side with their landowners at this point and make the decision to hold out and to see where this goes. I am not by any stretch ignorant in the fact that there's a good chance this will pass. And I recognize that. At the same time, I recognize that we are just as responsible as anyone else to make sure that all of us are safe and that this is in the best interest. This is not a public utility. This should not be something that they can use eminent domain, but they are. That is what they're going to ask for immediately. You also, it's important to recognize that at this point, the last thing I was told, only 6% of landowners have signed on in the whole state of Illinois. That means 94% of landowners are saying, we're not interested at this point. We're not signing. Doesn't mean that they won't. It means let's hold out and see what happens. So 2 things that I came to ask was, number 1, do not sign the agreement at this point, or look at it very closely before you make those decisions. It appears to be very one-sided. They can withdraw that at any point. I know it's a lot of money. I recognize that. That money should still be there. If this is what it says, and it's supposed to be in lieu of tax dollars, and they told us that a year ago practically, that they thought that would happen, then why wouldn't it be here as this moves forward? The second thing that I'm asking is that you consider that moratorium. It was 6 months. We have other counties that have 2-year moratoriums. It may be of no value whatsoever. The state may move on through and say, it's passed and it's going forward, but it does make a statement based on the fact that we're asking people to take into consideration what your constituents want. And right now, our constituents in Fulton County, they are not signing. We do not have a big mass of people signing on for this at this point. So those are the two things. I've left my phone number, I've left Dan Williams' phone number. He's sitting back there as well. And if you have questions, if you have anything else that you want to ask about, please let me know, and we will do our best to answer those questions.
All right. Moving on, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Moved by Beck, seconded by Murphy. Is there any discussion? All right, roll call.
Williams.
Yes.
Barclay.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Eller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Platt.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood.
Yes.
Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. Action agenda. Madam Treasurer, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. Starting off with County General for the month of February, revenue totaled $863,732.29. Expenses totaled $1,053,440.61. We had a deficit of $189,708.32. We finished first quarter of fiscal 23 with a surplus in County Gen of $228,442.77. Any questions? No. Moving right along. In terms of assets that the county has, there's 42 million in change. That is on the second page of the report. Additionally, there is the 4-pager that is provided that highlights every fund, 1 through 100. Highway engineering might be 101. That new building, we wanted to be 100, but we beat you to it. So, does anyone have any questions on the financials, reports, budgets, where we're at? Any questions? Any questions? Okay, moving right along. Audit, we are still on track to have a draft audit report to you in April for then you to vote on the county financial statements in the month of May. The actuarial for the OPEB audit is quite a bit. I have some questions that I'm still waiting to get answered before I pass along to the finance committee to review and then ultimately you all as well. Keep in mind that OPEB other post-employment benefit audit, it's not cash basis, it's not accrual basis, it's an actuarial, which is a whole nother level of analytics when it comes to an audit. So I feel I need to be comfortable with the report, make sure I can address and answer any of your questions before I provide it to you. So the auditors and I are going through that because we have a separate company that provides that actuarial for us. Any questions on the audit? Okay. Local Assistance Tribal Consistency Fund. Fulton County received $100,000. Y'all haven't spent any of it. I'm going to be coming to you, well, to the Finance Committee next month and start that conversation on some potential uses or purposes for the money. Although we haven't spent any, I do need to report, and that report is due by the 31st of this month. And I have started preparing that report to turn in. Moving right along to ARPA. ARPA, the huge annual report is due the end of April, but I have already started compiling what is necessary because that report is very extensive compared to the LATCF where you've spent $0 so far. So the ARPA report, making sure we're compliant, and that report will be submitted before the end of next month. Finally, it's not tax time, but my team and I are gearing up because hopefully at some point the clerk will have everything he needs, and we have no idea what that timeline is yet. But my team and I are getting ready so that when taxes come our way, we could send friendly mail to you all soon.
This guy,
Which guy?
send him to a couple.
Potentially. Maybe. Okay. Any questions? Yes,
Just
Dean?
got one. Did the Scenic Drive Association ever give an invoice for their?
I do. I have invoices and I have canceled checks, but we have a bit of discrepancies on matching everything up. So I am waiting to have a meeting with them. So as soon as that is submitted, then, or as soon as they can provide, this is what the invoice is, this is the check and what they're
The
submitting.
reason I asked, because their meeting's tomorrow night, and they asked me to find out.
Unfortunately, they're not going to get a check yet. It needs to be pretty clearly defined by the finance committee, excuse me, in order to pass that claim through. So the money has been appropriated, but they need to be a little bit more detailed in what is turned in. But I'll work with Cindy and the treasurer and we'll get the money hopefully next month.
Maybe off the subject a little bit, since you're the treasurer. Have we got this worked out with MSD on our
Works out with MSD on the payment. So
correct? We can't.
yes, John should be sending that money, excuse me, this month. So what ended up happening is our auditors always provide a letter because pursuant to the contract with MSD, which is, not gonna say that word, I'm not a fan of contracts. Anyways, we have to pay 25% of what our net income is. They draft up a letter every year. Unfortunately, the letter that they drafted up, what they did was they put what the 25% is, not the net income. So John and I, looking at that all the years past, we've looked at the same letter, never changed the format. So that is what Fulton County sent, was 25% of the 6,000 something. So we were good to go. And the state got a hold of me and said, we need more money. I'm like, well, we showed you the money. And we went back through and I did the math, didn't think I would have to check the math of our auditors, which is kind of giggly, lesson learned on my part. We owe MSD money, our Metropolitan Water. So the campground superintendent is supposed to be taking care of that. I have addressed it with the auditors and they are going to make sure they change the formatting of the letter, Carl, that will literally have net income and then 25%. So that it is clear for Fulton County when they're reading that. And then always what happens is once you approve in that May board meeting, that next day, I send them those approved financial statements, plus they have that letter on file, knowing that the money will be coming once it's approved from the board. And that usually gets approved if it's approved, the audit is approved in May, then it'll be in June, we send education letter in May.
They charge us any penalty or anything like that?
Nope. Firm handshake for job well done, finally, Fulton County. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Stacy. Okay, community development zoning and 200th anniversary. Member Kessel.
So we had, the zoning board of appeals had their public hearing for Leeward Energy a couple weeks ago. I think there were 40 or 50 people or so in attendance, almost a 3-hour meeting. Some of us were there. They granted I'm not going to use all the right terminology, the variance to give them 6 years to do the solar project instead of the normal 2 years because of supply chain issues and getting approval for getting on the grid and all of those things. They said a lot of projects right now are taking about 4 years instead of the normal 2-year project timeline. So they asked for 6 years to make sure they could get it done. So I think it was a good informational meeting. Landowners were there and asked questions. It was a unanimous vote to grant them that and to give them that extension. So I just wanted to update the board on that. In addition, for the 200th anniversary planning. So the committee's been talking about some things to do. John and I continue to talk about having, about what we're gonna do. And we felt like we needed to come to the full board, not to go around the community development, zoning, 200th anniversary, or finance, but to get a feel for what the full board's comfortable with before we move forward. So what we'd like to do is have a full day event, sometime maybe August, September timeframe, likely at the Fulton County Fairgrounds. Invite restaurants in Fulton County to come and set up booths or trailers or food trucks or whatever they have to sell food. Invite other businesses in Fulton County to come and set up and sell stuff or whatever, to have people to come do fundraisers. And then have entertainment throughout the day. So that's sort of our plan, is having like a one-day big celebration for our 200th anniversary. Some others are interested in doing other smaller things throughout the year, and that's fine, but I'm kind of focused on the one-day event, and then if others want to try to do things or, throughout, that's fine too. But John and I have an idea to bring like a big band or artist in for this at the end of the day. But we're talking about, obviously that's going to cost some money. So we've talked to someone who does this for a living, and they recruit bands, artists, whoever, for like the state fair and things like that. We need to know if this is something the board's even interested in before we start going down this path. If you're not interested in putting money into it, we talked about using ARPA interest money. That's it, ARPA interest money, to pay for this. If you're not interested in that, then we're going to stick with planning a day and having local artists only. But if you are interested in us trying to have a big kind of event for the 200th anniversary, we need to know we're about 6 months out. We need to get that scheduled and planned, etc. So we're thinking this could cost up to about $50,000. We do think we could get corporate sponsorships from businesses in the county to help offset that. My hope is that maybe we could raise half of that, but we still need a commitment. It's a chicken and the egg problem. We need a commitment from the board if we want to spend that so we can start making the plans. We can't ask for sponsorships until we know what we're doing and we can tell them the date and who we're bringing in, et cetera. But what are your thoughts? Feedback?
If you have a band like that, are you gonna charge an admission fee to get in, or is it gonna be all free?
So our thought process was that trying to sell tickets would be a nightmare. So maybe we would do a free will donation the day of and ask people that come to contribute if they can, but not require an admission. That's kind of our thought process. I don't think selling tickets is doable. But if everybody gave 20 or 30 bucks or whatever they came, that would help offset. And when I say a big name, we're not going to get a Taylor Swift. We're going to get like a nitty gritty dirt band or something, like a band that's maybe had their heyday a few years ago. Yeah. And it's still, people are going to recognize it, but we can afford it. So, yeah. Yeah.
When you're referring to a band, are you referring to a country band, a rock band?
I just said like nitty gritty dirt band is an example of somebody that this person we talked to that does this for a living thinks we could get somebody in that ballpark. If 50,000 isn't just for the band, we're talking 30 to 35 to actually get the artists for the stage and production and all of that kind of stuff. And then we're allowing extra in there so we can get insurance if it rains that day. We can pay for some of those other expenses, marketing, things like that are going to go along with it. So we're estimating 50 to be the max of what we would need for this, but we want to make sure we don't ask for 40 and then come back and need 5 more. Yeah.
You could probably get some artists that level that just local for around 5,000.
A local artist, that's what you're saying?
No, higher than local
But not nationally known one.
No.
artists.
No. I mean, we've talked to someone that does this for a living. We got a pretty good idea of what that costed. I mean, this is what he does.
I'm saying it's gonna be 30,000.
It's gonna be 30,000. It's
So,
gonna be at least 30,000.
That's gonna be the artist fee, band fee, whatever, plus building a
Stage,
stage and
lights,
production and all
yeah.
the stuff that we would need to go along with it.
Doesn't fairground then state.
We can't use the fairground stage for something like that. it's gonna have to be one that's built for that purpose, for that band, and not, I don't think what we have in place right now is suitable.
Sometimes you have to work with sound systems.
Right. So that's why we talked to somebody who does this for a living, and he went through all of that, of what he thought it would cost. So what's, I mean, do you guys think this is crazy? Do you think it's our 200th anniversary? We're not gonna probably do this again in our lifetime, so we should go for it? Do
I
you
probably
think?
be here for the next one.
Huh?
I probably won't.
Yeah, I probably won't be here for the next one either. I mean, we just, John and I think this is a good idea, but we don't wanna go down this path and spend time on something that we're gonna eventually come back to the board and they're gonna say, you guys are gonna say, heck no, we're not doing that. So we just want, we feel like we need to get a feel today and get you all to agree that we should go that route or should go a smaller route so we can move forward. And what we want to do is, if you guys want to move forward on the, either way, we need to find out what the fairground open dates are for weekends in August and September. And then if we go the bigger route, we're going to provide that to the person who secures this and have them see who they can secure on the open dates we have and give us our options in the price range we're in.
Can't they do that before we vote?
The art interest.
Or talk about it? I mean, can't you get some
Corporate sponsors.
tentative agreements or?
I don't know
There's no use
that,
going down that road until we know for sure that the board's gonna be on it.
yeah, I don't think it's fair to waste their time or ours in going down that path and spending that time and then making all those calls if we're gonna say, nope, we don't like the nitty gritty or whatever, you know?
And you guys, if we go ahead with this, I mean, you need to be prepared for the fact that you're gonna have people say, well, I'd much rather have that money spent on my roads than the county doing this.
That's what I was thinking.
That's why we want to have this conversation.
But we think this is a unique opportunity and
And we think we can get sponsorship. I mean, I think I think we can get sponsorship to help offset that, but we still need to have the full approval so we can make plans. And then once we have things in place, then we'll go for the sponsorships. But Lisa, were you gonna say something? Sorry.
I was just gonna make a motion to allocate $1,000 towards the 200th anniversary.
Out of ARPA interest
yeah,
funds.
let's say that. Yeah.
And we're up to 100,000, I think, in the ARPA interest.
$100,507.18 as of 2/28.
Will that be pulled to a line item for you for this?
We'll have to figure all that out with Stacy. Yeah,
And then the corporate money will go into that line item.
we'll have to figure that out to make sure we do that correctly.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second for the motion? Seconded by Sloan. Okay, any other discussion now on the motion?
Carl, I was gonna say, you gotta say something. I can tell by the look.
I
on
don't
your
think-
face.
I think we need to say something local to be more forward. I think, just think of an example, Confederate Railroad came here and played, it was probably 150 people. And charged $10 to get in. And they were mad at the governor because remember, they wouldn't let them, because the name is Confederate Railroad, they wouldn't let them play the state fair. They came here and played for 3 days. And I bet there wasn't fun.
No, it's sure.
I mean, we've got some local talent. You know, Eric Thompson would also be proud, local kid from here in Fulton County.
I should have said even if we go with the big name, we'd like to have local people lead, like throughout the afternoon and leading up to, and then have a local opener that is maybe bigger. And then-
For 2 minutes.
14.
I mean, I just think we can spend our money more wisely. That's just my opinion. We need a lot of work on this courthouse. You like it.
Other
That's why we're having this discussion.
I think it's just a little bit of a sticker shock. I mean, it'd have to be really big to spend $50,000.
what would have to be really big? The name or?
The whole thing, I mean, the advertising to get people there, it can't just be word of mouth.
Right. That's why we built in, the extra for the marketing and stuff,
I was just gonna say, up in Canton a couple of years ago, they had REO Speedwagon play at a local bar on the outskirts of town. They had Head East, which was rock bands, obviously, and the Night Ranger band, which was old 80s music. They had the 3 of them and for $30,000. And they were all big names and, well, still touring back then. The only thing would concern me is having this discussion now, I heard someone call out, they want to get some numbers. The problem you run into with bands like that, and I know this from experience because I ran into it through the Friendship Festival, was they have booking agents that charge a booking fee for their time spent. And it's just like an engineering fee. You pay for it whether you accept it or not, and that's money wasted right off the bat if you don't do anything, if you have them do any research.
This
So,
person we've talked to doesn't charge unless you go forward, but we also don't want to waste your
right,
time in
right.
doing the
And
work
you
if
do
we don't
have
want to go
people
forward.
like that.
A lot of.
Maybe the 200th anniversary, I think we should do something big just for that reason. But I also think in the back of my mind, if we're going to spend that kind of money, if it's able to spend that kind of money out of the ARPA interest funds, I mean, you are going to have some feedback from the community that, like John said, why the road's being fixed, and some of that money, I'm sure can't be used for certain things, but I think we should do something special for Fulton County's 200th anniversary. I'm no doubt in my mind on that. A big name entertainment, a gig at the fairgrounds all day long is great. You can get, you can maybe get some vendors come in, maybe charge them $25 a vendor just to kind of recoup some of your money. And also, just like the county fair, they charge for parking coming into the grounds right there from the old car lot with Simmons car lot used to be. $2, $4 a car is not bad parking fees.
I think that my viewpoint is that we try to do this free for the community as much as possible. If they want to come and eat, they buy their food. If they want to,
Right.
whatever.
Vendors can pay more than $25.
Well, it's all, if we're trying to focus on Fulton County and support them, I was
So
thinking
parking-
20, 25 as well, so.
Right.
I don't know. So we're getting in the weeds. I guess the big question is, the committee will come up with all the details and bring it back to present, but do we want to go bigger? Do we want to go smaller? I think that's where we're at this point, so before we get into all the weeds.
Well, I think what you're proposing, in my mind,
You got a motion on the floor.
you have big or you go smaller. You go no in between. And I think you guys have something in between to look at as a secondary option in case you can't come up with that kind of money for some reason or another. But I think you could find big name bands, or were big name bands that are kind of semi-retired or whatever, probably cheaper than what we're talking, but there's probably attachments with it, you gotta pay for the room and board or,
Again, that's why we talk to
Fee,
someone who
you know.
does this for a living that knows all these
Right,
details.
right.
Yep.
Okay, any other discussion?
I know I'm new. So you guys don't know, I've helped with the Scala County Fair for the last 5 years. I actually am the guy that sets up the stage and does everything for the bands. There's so much more expense than the band. The grounds, the advertising, the people, staff, the cleanup, on and on. I suggest if you guys want to do something, we should piggyback off something firm. If you want to do something, piggyback off the Fulton County Fair. Make it a 200 fair. Don't go out on your own. You're gonna have all sorts of unforeseen expenses. That's gonna end up being, if it's a 50 grand band, and my wife does this for WIU, she's got that get 40 or 20. If it's a 50 grand band, you're gonna have 75 of it.
Well, that's what, it's not, it's a 30,
You're gonna have 50. It's
right.
whatever you think.
That's why we're
It's
saying, that's why he said 30 to 35 for the band and production and stage, and that's why
He
we're
was
saying
saying,
50.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
he's
I-
saying 30 to 35.
I suggest just piggyback off somebody else because we need to be fiscally conservative. Ever since I've been on the board, it's invested money on this, invested money on that. And we're short in a lot of things. The courthouse is gonna be huge. And that ARPA money, is it attached to anything as far as interest? We just spend interest however we want, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So we talked about piggybacking on something else, and I think the thought was that we should have our own thing, and we shouldn't piggyback off of the Canton Friendship Festival or the fair, because we wanted it to be our event. I mean, we talked about that.
We did, we talked
specifically.
about doing something like right during Fair Week even.
Yeah.
I think our bigger attendance would be best.
The thing about the fair brings in outside folks and brings, like, we really want this to be Fulton County centric. We want it to be Fulton County vendors, food vendors, things like that, and I think it would be easier to control that and be able to do that if we do our own, is kind of the thought process. If it's part of the week-long fair, we're gonna have people out of state and whatever, that's sort of what we were thinking, is we would really try to feature all Fulton County stuff. But
No, I don't think you can do it off the fair. There's an entrance to the fair. There's an entrance to the music at the fair. I don't see how you pay it, I think.
Oh, I think it'd be possible. It's just, we could invite like county food vendors and stuff like Laura said, but we couldn't do any of that, but.
Yeah, and you have to deal with the corporation that's running the show.
The other
It
thing,
can be a headache.
just to throw out, if you're gonna use the fairgrounds, there is a fee for the fairgrounds of $2,000 right off the bat. That I know for a fact. Yeah.
I was gonna say, we just gave them ARPA funds. I think we're hoping for some
Well, I'm just
goodwill.
saying, I know what they
Yeah.
charge to scenic drive.
Well,
I mean,
I think we're working on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean,
I personally think this is a good idea.
I just know I
And
just
having
signed
it,
that contract,
having it
so I
open
know
to the
that.
public is an asset of saying, hey, we appreciate this and everything.
We're actually spending money on people.
And people that can give to donate, if they come, great, and if they can't, we're not gonna, they can still enjoy it. That's the idea.
Okay, any other discussion?
Any other discussion I have is an idea for the 200th anniversary is maybe during the 4th of July. Maybe go in and,
We gotta discuss the motion here, Dan. We're on this motion.
That's a point of order.
Oh. Any other discussion on the motion for spend the 50,000 on the 200th anniversary? Okay, roll call.
Barclay.
I'll vote no.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
No.
Heller.
No.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
no,
Murphy.
Yes.
Platt.
No.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood. Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Williams.
No.
Seven, motion dies. Hold on.
7-6. No. Motion failed.
Motion did fail. 7-6, motion failed.
Okay.
Do we leave it there, or do we come up with a number so we can plan?
I think you should keep it in the county. Bands and everything.
That's
Okay.
fine, but it's gonna
So
cost.
how much money then can we spend on local bands and stuff to make this happen?
I think you should.
Are you good with? Make it, you wanna make a motion, Stan?
How much money we gonna spend?
We just,
I don't want to spend $50,000.
well, Stan, then make a motion and quick and cranky about it, please.
I'll say 25,000.
Okay, is there a second? Stan moved that we spend up to 25,000 on local bands and entertainment for the 200th anniversary. Is there a second?
I'll go for it again.
Seconded by Sloan. Any discussion?
Hold up. So the motion was made by
Barry.
second was made by,
Sloan,
thank you.
you got the motion?
Yep.
Okay. Discussion on the motion. Anything? Boomer?
just have a question on the motion.
Okay,
Since the original motion failed, the new motion's not on the agenda. Can that legally be?
Either one of them were on.
Neither one of them.
there was
Yeah,
action.
we're right here on.
It
200th
don't say that. It
anniversary
says 200th
celebration
anniversary, that's all it says.
For action discussion.
You don't say
That's
$50,000.
That's what we're doing.
Didn't have enough.
There's not an amount on the agenda.
Okay. That was the only question I had.
Okay, I think we're good. Anybody else?
I'm not comfortable writing a blank check. I'd rather have an idea what we're gonna do with it. So if we really don't know what we're doing yet, I'm not comfortable with it. It's not really the money thing.
Okay,
I think that's where a lot of
Grant, I like to know a date. I like to know what the plan is.
I'll make
Carl?
mine real short. Here's the way I look at it. What's our general public that we represent going to think about that?
think about what?
What we're spending our money for? Is our general public going to agree with what we're going to spend? It was 50, now 20,000. What's your constituents going to think that we're spending that for? Or for 200 years? If you think they're good with it, good. But what if they're not?
So, I guess what, do you think we should not do anything then?
No, I think we should do something, but I don't know about,
Then how much should we spend?
I don't know. I mean, I'm just scared that we're gonna have this big idea and not have the turnout we think. Because people don't show a whole lot of interest a lot of times. In our county. You know, the county fair is what we got going. If you look at the Friendship Festival in Canton, it's probably done. So our county fair does still draw a pretty big crowd, but I don't know if we can, that interest will be there for us. And I'm all for having something legal with, I just don't want to be a lot.
Okay. Boomer?
The other thing I thought for a suggestion is maybe do multiple events through the year of different.
That's not what
We can't,
you guys,
and that's not what we're
that's
talking,
not
discussion
what
this
we're trying to
motion.
figure out tonight.
The committee's already discussed that stuff, Dan. Okay, we have a motion, and a second, to spend 25,000 on the, 200th anniversary. Is there any other discussion about that? Okay, roll call.
Barclay.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
No.
Kessel.
Yes,
Coomer.
No,
Murphy.
Yes.
Platt.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood. Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
yes.
Williams.
No.
Motion carried.
More
Okay.
details to come.
All right. Moving on, county highway.
Okay, some old business, we have all the salt mix, left over from this year relocated into storage. We're going to continue with spring grading and pothole patching. And start excavating is planning on closing County Highway 2 bridge on March 21st, if anybody asks. We will have press releases starting tomorrow. That's it,
What'd you say the date on that?
March 21st.
Okay. In the hopes that if we open, it's the river drive.
There you go. Awesome.
We have a completion date of contract October 6th.
Is that when the completion is on it?
So that's what I tell you.
Completion date's October 6th. To coincide with Spring River Drive.
Okay. Anything else?
8 to 9.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you, Jared. Health. Number 5.
Is there?
we have action on the raise or? Oh,
You can make a
I'm not
motion
on
to
the
do that.
okay. This last month, reported that the nursing home did a wage study on what the RNs were starting at, so that they could attract more employees, because they had lost some and having to use agency staff, you know, they're extraordinary high wage. So they had come back to raise the starting wage for RNs by $5. So, and that, what did that make it 36? Okay. Comparatively speaking, being in the industry, that is not out of line, especially when we're paying over $100 an hour for agency staff. If we can pay the 36 and attract more employees, then that's what we need to do. So I make the motion that we raise the starting wage for RNs by $5.
Is there a second? Second by Sloan. Discussion. Murphy?
Is this average, what you're telling me?
It is.
Does that include IMRF and health benefits and holidays and all of the stuff they get out of Cleveland?
Nope, that is just the wage.
Any other discussion?
What did you say the starting rate would be, $5 an hour raise?
To 36.
So what's gonna happen to those who currently are in, where their wage go up $5?
I think they discussed, yes, the scale of how people move up with their, all the different things. The whole thing is moving up to $5.
Okay, other discussion?
Just one moment, I may have a discussion.
Yeah.
Problem is that the people that the nurses that they're hiring to come in when we don't have anybody is over $100 an hour. Yeah, $116 an hour. So we have to give the RNs enough to keep them, or at least have somebody interested in filling the position.
I understand that, and I am sympathetic for that, but the problem is we should know that nurses are going to be one.
I would with that, 100%.
That's a separate motion.
Yeah, but why should we just keep feeding the fire?
We have people to take care of.
Right now.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
otherwise
lives
we
on
pay
our hands.
fines
Yeah, we get
every
fined.
day that we don't have that person on staff. So it costs us even more money.
Yeah, I
How much
understand
has
that.
we spent?
We need to look at the future.
How much did she say she spent on the agency to come in?
Oh, the agency last year cost us $100,000 for the RNs, because we didn't have our own employees.
William?
Just one quick thing, and maybe I'm jaded because where I work for, Fulton County deputy starts at less than $24 an hour. So let's be thinking about, and you know, you guys don't realize, I mean, you know what the deputies do, but the jailers make less than that. They're over there, they have to take care of the mental patients, change adult people's diapers 3 or 4 times a day. So, you know, I mean, if we're gonna give money, let's give it make it fair to everyone. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to think, or like what I say, but our nursing home needs to belong to someone else. before he goes. So that's just my opinion, but I think if you talk to the general public, they'll probably agree with that. That's all I have on that.
Okay. Any other discussion on the motion? All right, roll call.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry.
Yep.
Heller.
No.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
Murphy.
No.
Black.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood. Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
Williams.
No.
And Barkley.
Yes.
The ayes have it. The motion carried.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
All right. Thank you. Okay. More fun and games, finance.
I would take it
Go ahead, Lisa.
Okay.
Okay. All right, first thing on the agenda, I will move to approve true roll exemption auditing software for this session.
All right. Moved by Thompson. Is there a second? Seconded by Beck. Discussion.
Briefly, this is software that the assessor is interested in to audit exemption. She gave us a really nice spreadsheet of what the possibilities were of that the county collect, and I believe it's in the board packet, isn't it?
It is.
Yes. And it is $16,000, and it's guaranteed to have 100% return on investment.
We'll only get the 16,000 back.
They, based on the exemption that they find, they guarantee the $16,000.
It's also being funded through
So the
the
guarantee and
And it's being paid for with ARPA funds.
and this is the only thing I have asked for out of the ARPA funds.
I'm just
Is there
wondering.
anything else
about
you'd like to
the
say about it?
Guarantee. So the
Just
guarantee
briefly,
to find 32
Yes,
grand.
it's a guarantee, no, it's a guaranteed return of investment of the cost of the software, which is
Right.
$16,000. And if you're familiar with exemptions on your property tax bills, these are all homestead-based exemptions. Currently in Fulton County, the amount of equalized assessed value that we have pulled off the assessment rolls that is not subject to taxation is just shy of $99 million. That's a lot of money. It's actually almost 15% of our overall taxable EAD. So even if we hit 6.77% is all we need to hit any exemption that we have in this county, only 6.77% of them need to be incorrect to get an ROI on this. And I guarantee you with the one staff member I have going over the almost $99 million worth of exemptions, we're gonna probably find some shortcomings. So this software will also help other departments it tracks people who have exemptions in other counties, other states, it holds voting history in other states, other counties, and gives us a probability of whether they should be receiving the exemptions in this county or not.
It's a time frame on that to get that.
I am currently, since we had it preliminarily approved, I'm currently gathering the data that was requested from the software company because it's pretty expensive and it has to be laid out in a specific tab limited format. If it's approved tonight, I'm hoping to have the information to them by the end of the week.
We're gonna take a look at this guy.
Okay, we'll take a look at that guy.
Other discussion.
That is not on the agenda.
I'm ready.
Roll call.
Barry.
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
Coomer.
Yes.
Murphy.
Yes.
Black.
Yes.
Sloan.
Yes.
Southwood. Spangler.
Yes.
Thompson. Williams.
Yes.
Barkley.
Yes.
Beck.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right.
Thank you.
Bond compliance. Chapman.
I move to approve the bond compliance.
Is there a second?
One is
Moved by
letter.
Thompson, seconded by Southwood. Discussion. Want to explain?
Patrick does.
Basically, we used to have First Mid-State, who's our bonding company. They would do this reporting for us. It's mandated by the federal government that we are transparent on the debt that we have. We used Chapman last year. Stace and I worked with them. We were 100% compliant. It's a $500 check. I don't know what else you need to know.
We have to do it.
We have to.
Right. There you go.
Okay, anything else? All right, roll call.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood,
Yes.
Spangler,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barkley,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you, everybody.
Okay,
Next item, selling tax delinquent property. Okay. I will move to make an offer to Habitat for Humanity to sell a piece of tax delinquent property for $2,500.
is there a second? Second by Kessel, moved by Thompson.
Right.
Just discussion.
All right, well, it's tax delinquent property. It's been sitting there empty for years. We're not collecting any funds on it. The Habitat for Humanity is interested in the property.
So there's a certain problem.
It is a certain property, yeah.
We can't.
Sure.
And, it goes up, the deed goes up for bid this fall, correct? Stacy?
If taxes are not redeemed soon, and there's about 18,000 in back taxes that are owed, it will be part of the seal bid auction that I do this summer. Or if you agree on a price to work with Habitat Humanity, then we will pull it from the seal bid auction.
2,500 is gonna be.
2,500 is about
What the
average.
attorney said, yeah, the attorney in the packet.
Yes. Well, actually, honestly, it said 2662 was the average price. It's how.
Habitat Humanity actually owns a small piece already next to it.
Yeah.
And so that's why they would like to have this, put it all together. Julie, explain like you did to the finance committee, what happens when a lot of these just go back through the sale, what those people do.
This is just personal observation. A lot of the times when people purchase these out of the sealed bid auction, they end up turning them into rental properties where they, not you, Joe. Or they will.
No, I've seen it too.
I know, but they will turn it into a rental property. They will collect the funds from the rental property. They will never pay the property taxes. We will repeat this cycle again.
Or they don't put any money into it and it runs down and they walk away again.
Right. So this way, we at least know the place is gonna be fixed up, it's gonna look decent, and it'll have someone in it eventually, probably very soon, will be then paying tax. Treasurer.
One thing I want to bear in mind, I am maintaining neutrality on this issue and not trying to influence it one way or another, because my hands are on this every day in terms of this process with the taxes, the delinquency, and the trustee program. Whatever you do tonight, you are setting a precedent. So Habitat for Humanity is a wonderful organization. Please do not hear me wrong. This isn't me trying to say do this or don't do this. What I need you to understand, what you're agreeing upon tonight is something that is a unique situation. It's highly probable that is a really good thing to do, but bear in mind, if this is approved, maybe Habitat has another property that they need. That's a great working relationship. But at the same time, there needs to be a bit of a distinction on what is that cutoff. Because I can't necessarily have someone who is in the buying homes and flipping homes business want to make a deal with the county. The seal bid auction is just that. It's the seal bid auction. Those resolutions that I present to you all the time that you are approving, and I'm distributing the money in all the different directions it goes, that's that mechanism, is the seal bid auction. So we don't want to be disruptive to the process. So I think it's important that you maybe clarify this is a unique situation, and this is something that you're in agreement with Habitat for Humanity on this particular parcel.
Sure.
Be in a motion, be hyper specific about that.
Well, if there's another one, the board's gonna have to vote again.
Right, I mean, it's not like they're gonna come back to you, they'll have to bring it to the board for approval again. So, you just get all that in.
Yeah.
I'm not
Be
sure
to
what
put the
you want
details in the motion.
specifically. What'd you say?
I said we'll be sure and put those details in the motion.
Okay.
This is a special incident.
Did we ever get a fair market value or an estimate on what they thought it would be worth?
Yes. $25,000.
But there's 18 or 19,000 owed in back taxes, so there's only about 8,000 in equity is what I think I heard.
And that's also in a perfect selling condition, like
Right.
assuming that it's a fee simple transaction,
Yeah.
it's advertised on the market and has been open and advertised to any possible buyers and not taking into account the over $18,000 in liens against it.
And the bid starts at what?
The minimum bid
Six,
for the
70,
seal bid
800.
is either 800 or, it'll be either 800 or 850
Yeah,
this
it's about
year.
$800, so the thing could theoretically go for $800.
Correct.
William?
One other quick question, then does that delinquent tax follow that property?
No.
So it's Habitat for Humanity or whoever's gonna have to pay that delinquent tax?
No, anything that is purchased in the seal bid auction, all prior year taxes are null and void.
So if they're 2,500, then they know that they don't have to pay any taxes on it.
The back,
They don't have to pay the back
Correct,
tax.
back taxes.
Correct.
So if an individual wanted to buy it, they wouldn't have to pay the back taxes either, correct?
In the seal bid auction, no, they
it's
wouldn't.
to get it back on the tax roll.
Right.
If it was going through the traditional route of a real estate purchase, yes, they would have to pay those back taxes, Carl. The seal bid auction in this process is different.
Okay, any other questions? That makes sense, Carl? Any other questions? All right, roll call.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood, Spangler,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barkley,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Moving on, clerk position, assessment office.
I move to approve the assessment hiring an additional clerk.
Is there a second? Moved by Thompson, seconded by Southwood. Discussion.
Julie, would you like to speak to this? She came to me, oh, I'm sorry, I asked you to speak and then I started yapping.
No, you're
Go ahead.
fine if you want to say something first. Danny was asking me a question.
I'm just saying that she came to me with, this ask for this, additional clerk position. She has good sound reasoning behind it. Your job description is in your board packet and I'm gonna let you take it from there.
So the additional clerk position, it's a grade 3 position. Historically, it has been in my office. This additional one, it was cut from my budget when I took office on December 1st of 2020. So I'm basically asking for it back. This person will be doing the traditional work that they always did, plus training under my property and deed transfer clerk and board review secretary to eventually replace her when she plans to retire within the next couple of years. The person I'm looking at potentially hiring has over 14 years of title search experience specific to this county. And that is one of the biggest parts of the person she'll eventually be replacing's job, which is not something, if any of you are familiar with title searches, that you can come in off the street and learn. On top of that, they will be assisting with the process in my office that sets up the GIS department and all parcel splits and combinations. A large part of that is going to be these incoming solar farms. With each land agreement, we have to create an additional parcel. We're looking at adding hundreds, if not thousands, of additional parcels to the tax rolls, and we have to establish the legal descriptions for those, get them created, and go through that entire position. Essentially, my grade 4 person, who this person will be training to eventually replace, is going to have her workload double. On top of that, she's also the board review secretary, so while she's helping with the board review, the rest of her duties kind of sit idle, and then she has to play catch up for a good few months. When my grade 4 position does eventually retire and I move this person over, I'm not looking to the future to say, yes, I'm going to absolutely backfill this position. I would like to ask you to reevaluate that then. But for the immediate cause right now, I'm asking you to grant it. I have half the position funded with funds from the GIS fund, and the other half, I have an expected overage in my township billing line item of around $15,000 this year. And with me replacing another employee earlier, I'm going to have about a $5,000 overage in that line item as well. So I have the funds, if they could be appropriated, to cover it this year. And then next year, I foresee basically the same situation, as long as Patrick doesn't pull his support.
Which is not likely.
Yeah, which is not likely.
Okay, questions? All right, roll call.
Coomer,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
Yes.
Sloan,
Yes.
Southwood,
Yes.
Spangler,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barclay,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, next up. I move to approve the resolution to raise the recorder's fees to $86 due to passing and signing of Public Act 102-1135.
Moved by Thompson, is there a second? Second by Murphy. Discussion.
This is state mandate.
Explain that.
Not really, but
Do it to it.
it was the Public Act 102-1135 was passed. It says we have to do this.
Okay. Any discussion? Roll call.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
No.
thank you. Sloan,
No.
Southwood,
Yes.
Spangler,
Yes.
Thompson,
Yes.
Williams,
Yes.
Barclay,
No.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller,
Yes.
Kessel,
Yes.
Coomer,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, discussion on the
I'm gonna go ahead and do the retirement recognition
Okay.
policy. All right, I will move to approve the retirement recognition policy.
Is there a second? Seconded by Beck, moved by Thompson, to approve the retirement recognition policy. Discussion.
Well, it must be. Danny, you pulled it from action.
I'm going to direct the comments, for comments from the clerk, county clerk.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm going to direct my time to the county clerk on the issue comments.
Patrick, do you have something?
What is that?
The retirement recognition.
So I know I don't have a vote. I didn't know if I needed to do this in public comments, but I would just appreciate if you'd hear me out. I saw some of the policies, and they've been thoughtful, and they've taken time, and it just seems like this one was reactive instead of proactive, because from what I heard when the policy was enacted in committee, it was due to the fact that it was kind of a surprise to the county board's budget, and there was some unhappiness towards that. And then so the reaction was to create a policy of how we uniformly hand out retirement recognition. Well, the policy states 10 years. Anybody that works more than 10 years as a department head employee gets a certificate and a resolution. So there's been more thoughtful policy work that's been done. I mean, we have 10 years would be a good starting point, I think, but we just had 80 years of experience retire out of Fulton County with Lieutenant Daly Jr., Sheriff Standard, and Coroner Hines, and we got them plaques. Now you can't do that anymore.
Is it my turn?
Second.
Yeah.
It was about trying to be equal. Okay, so the question arises, do we give plaques to only elected officials, or do employees with long-term recognition or also get recognition with plaques? Who gets a plaque and who doesn't? It became the question. Because we just had some really long-term employees retire, but they were just employees. They weren't elected officials. So if we're gonna, I can think of Reba, I can think of.
Who asked those? Where were those questions asked?
That it was brought to me by an employee that says, this isn't right. If you're going to recognize people, recognize all people equally. And I believe that's correct.
I agree with that 100%.
And that was the reason for
where
the
was
policy.
It brought up in committee to discuss what the different?
We asked in finance, are we going to award plaques to employees? If we are, we got to put it in the budget because we don't have a budget for it. We've always written proclamations in the past for retiring employees.
Yeah.
And we've started this practice. We've always been very poor. So, we've had some money to give plaques, but it was asked, are we going to give plaques? And if so, who's going to get them? Or are we going to go back to proclamations? Or what are we going to do? And it was decided that we're going to go back to proclamations and not spend taxpayer money on plaques. It's been good enough for all these years, and we decided it's good enough going forward. And that's where it came from.
But when you're an employer, you have to remember that your employees are taxpayers too.
It's not that. It's not about that those people didn't deserve those plaques. That's not the point. The point is that if we're going to recognize people with plaques, we have to do it for all employees.
That's all that I would want that discussion to be.
That's what it was. That's what our discussion was. Are we going to give out plaques or are we going to do proclamations?
I don't recall that there was much discussion on that at all.
Was there anybody else there in finance? That's the way I heard it.
I mean, was there a lot of discussion?
There was some discussion, and it's been over 2 different times, but I agree with your observation that a lot of the policies previously did have a lot of discussion, a lot of thought put in it.
Some policies took 3 months.
Right.
This one took 15 minutes.
So,
I was just going to write a
employees.
resolution, but it was a weird resolution, so I wrote policy.
I mean,
it's a weird policy.
I think 10 years is the start, but the difference between 10 years and 15 years and 20 years, there's different levels of recognition that not elected officials, not employees, not department heads. You know, I'm just asking for more thoughtfulness.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you, Patrick. I'm really not, because I felt the same way. Because somebody 10 years is really different than somebody with 20 years.
A lot, yeah.
And
So
it's just that this has always been the past practice, was to do a proclamation that it wasn't money. What I'd really like to see is an employee recognition program that they get recognized as they're working, as opposed to when they retire. But I don't know who's going to administer that.
Okay, Member Murphy.
Should we maybe table this and so they can discuss it more than 15 minutes?
I would be glad to entertain more
Doesn't sound
input
like you got,
into the policy.
right, so maybe we table this.
I'm gonna
Kessel,
defend Lisa
hold on.
really quick.
Hold on, just a second. Kessel was next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just want to ask a question. Is this policy specific to the county board and who we're recognizing, or did the policy apply to the whole county? I mean, is this still, is this policy telling the county officials they can't do something for their, or the department heads, they can't do something?
No. This is a county board's policy, because the county board started buying plaques for people.
I'm just trying to clarify.
Yes, I mean, you know,
To make sure
what
we're
a
talking about
department
something.
head does for their employees is not for us to say.
Exactly. Because
So-
there's really no budget and no policy to begin with. So what we were basically trying to do was just send it back to nothing. You know?
Reset
So
back
that
to
we
the
can
policy.
start over. If you want to come up with a budgeted line item and, you know, how we're gonna do this, then that's something we should talk about. Because I agree, 20 years, 30 years, that's impressive. But it does need to be for all.
well, that's all I'm asking for is, I mean, I've seen policies take six months to go into place.
But we can't just randomly pick who we're gonna do this for. So
No.
That's what I was
It
trying
was
to
really just trying to make.
I
a
agree
statement.
with every single part of the policy, except for the fact that it denotes one 10-year. 10 years.
Okay, so from what I'm hearing, is everybody okay if we send this back to committee?
That's
Work on
fine.
this?
Send it back.
Yes.
Let's do that.
You're welcome.
All right. Okay, I'm done.
need to rescind that motion.
Oh, yes, I must rescind my
Either
motion.
that or I need a motion to table.
Is there something else on the agenda? No.
I rescind
Char
my
needs some
motion.
money or something.
Charlene's trying to give you money back. Yeah. I'm trying to give you money back.
Char wants to give you all some money.
We just stopped by the.
I have to rescind my motion. Okay, you resolved it.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa, for hearing me out.
Good news.
Good news. In 2021, I went in front of the finance committee, it was in April, and asked them for help. The Ninth Circuit was moving on from this old sustain system to PC gyms, and I did not have the funds to purchase that system. I came in front of the full board in May, and it was originally going to be out of the county gen fund, and then when we realized we could use ARPA funds, it moved to the ARPA funds. In December or January, the chief judge of the Ninth Circuit sent out an email to the circuit clerks and the judges, telling them of a new technology grant. I spoke with the administrative assistant of the chief judge, and we submitted the PC Gems quote, and it was granted. So therefore, I'm giving that $100,000 advocated for PC Gems out of ARPA funds back to the county to do as they please with. Thank you very much.
Dog at the fairgrounds.
Your dog and M&M.
All right.
Patrick and I are
I miss you.
Thank you, Char.
I wish
Char, who's
Okay,
your
moving
favorite baby?
on, property, courts, public safety, and campground.
Childers.
Full report, Mr. Williams.
Okay,
Not Snoop
I'll
Dogg.
try to make it quick.
But I would go see them.
Committee toured the courthouse, the jail, and Dollar General. I think we're all in agreement that that's probably a good relative life there. Some stuff over there. With some,
I heard that.
dividers maybe and stuff like that. Ms. Thompson, you have something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
She has a little cough or something.
They were laughing at me, I apologize.
No, we're laughing with
Like I said, toured the courthouse. Bill Smith from the Sheriff's Department, the maintenance who handles the courthouse and the jail. He had a list of things that he thought was priority over there. One is to get the Sally Port built. The jail coming into the back part of the jail. I think that's something that's been needed for quite a while. Jeff and Bill's been working on it a little bit. John and Bill have been working on it. So, hopefully to make it as cheap as we can, but to surprise and do what we needed to do. The courthouse, I think the main thing brought up was smoke detectors. Bill was gonna start working on that. The list had some problems with the elevators. They're in good shape, but they need to have a smoke detector and a light, possibly camera in there. Moving on to the bell tower. It's not in good shape, but it's not in horrible shape. When that was done, Autobahn come back and made it the way it was originally. So I think Lisa was there, everybody was on the committee was there. You can literally take your hand and rub down into columns, it's like sandstone. But Autobahn's coming back in the spring. They're gonna look at some type of epoxy to put over that. You can't see it from the road. The only way you can see that is if you go put up in the bell tower and look at it. You can't see it from the road, you can't see it from any. So, I mean, the historical value, there's nothing there. So I think that, it does need some attention, but I think that would be our best way to go about it. Autobahn will give us an estimate or what they think. Moving on to the front of the courthouse, I think it's an agreement that we'd like to put a gate in front with the coping splits on the sidewalk. That'll alleviate people that's not from our county coming up to the front door and realize, no, I can't get in up there. So when we talk about a gate, something nice like a wrought iron or something, like a cemetery style, you can still get in if you want to look at the, monument out, see if you can do something for us. Make it look nice, some wrought iron, like say a green or whatever. That would alleviate people coming up there and see the door, you can't get in, it's not a entrance, so automatically they hopefully will get to the back. On our inspection, I talked to Keysler today. They did a risk assessment, I think 2 years ago. They will come back and do another one for us, but they only do the visual stuff. Like, you've got carpet pulled up or whatever. They won't look at any of the structural or anything like that. So we will eventually have to go to an engineer. That's what they told me when I spoke to them today. Campground, he's working on playground equipment and stuff out there, getting ready to get it set up. He didn't really have a whole lot to say, so I guess everything running smooth out there. Anything else?
Anyone have any questions for Carl?
Yes.
Mentioned the concrete out here.
Oh, yeah, well, that's the other thing we talked about. What we'd like to do, we need some grass out here. So that and this little pad that's out here that was actually an employee break area. It was never used. There's no bench. It's all cracked. So we'd like to tear that out. Shouldn't take much, but the committee there kind of talked about maybe having a work day here at the courthouse, getting some dirt in here and some grass seed here in the near future. So we can kind of spruce the courthouse up a little bit. So I would, don't know if the highway department could haul us any dirt. We could take the dirt and just bring it down in front of us. Would everybody be in agreement to that? Just maybe have a day that we spread dirt, seeded it, and got some grass going. I'm just kidding you. I think I can get us some good black dirt. We can get a truck down here.
Okay, Kessel?
Question, Carl, are we gonna figure out what the feedback is from the engineer architect of what all the improvements are before we start putting a whole bunch of money in to make sure that we should be putting money in?
As far as like the Dollar General building and stuff?
No, it's 120 years old or whatever it is.
There's certain things that we can do.
There is some things, some big projects probably, but like the salad port, we don't need an engineer up there to build a salad port. I mean, He's never been in a Sally Port, about guarantee you, he doesn't know what Sally Port is.
No, I
So-
mean like this building.
This building, like the
And
major
whether we should
structures,
be putting hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars into it versus we should be reevaluating whether it needs replaced. That's what I'm wondering about.
you mean a new courthouse? Are we gonna come up with that?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think we need to know what the problems are with that plan or with a report on what actual issues that we can't see in a walkthrough.
I heard some numbers thrown around about a new courthouse, and you said like 21 million.
Johnson. John said that.
15 in what county?
Franklin.
Franklin County total, they spent about 20 million in the whole project, or a little over 20, maybe 21. The thing is, at some point, we gotta have a structural assessment of this building.
I don't think,
I mean, that was the thing, you said, Keyswater Insurance guys, they were gonna do that, if they can't.
right, but they can't do the integrity, I guess, structural
Right.
integrity. As
Right.
far as going in, basically, they have an insurance adjustment type person say, okay, this ceiling tile's hanging, there's a, toe stub right there. So, but I think we'll still do that first again before we do our engineer. Have a look at it, and I don't know, I mean, on property, I don't see how we can ever afford to build a new courthouse. And our highway department's gonna cost us excess of $2.5 million for a highway building. Can you imagine what we get building for a courthouse? I'm going with the low end. I said the low end of 2.5 million. So,
And the biggest problem is the code here. The code is just not designed for today's codes. We never. It's not that the instruction is efficient, you can't do it.
But we don't.
But here's the thing, you gotta look at it, it's gonna cost $20 million to get this building up to code and get it
Yeah.
running.
like I say, I've been in a lot of courthouses and a lot of the jails.
Now, and Bill said.
Ours is not the
we can't.
best, but it's not the worst by far.
There's no money in the world that will bring it to code.
Well, and so that's what we gotta find out, I mean.
We are grandfathered.
Never does.
Well, until we start fixing stuff.
When you talk about Audubon companies, that's the biggest buddy project right there.
Getting it turned.
Our bell tower out there area is probably the biggest one. The biggest problem.
I guess as a taxpayer, I would rather know what our problems are and what we think we need to fix.
We haven't fixed the problems from the last one that was done, so, because there was no money. And that was, 9 years ago? I mean, we didn't, I shouldn't say we didn't fix them, we didn't fix all of them. And at that time, I think the decision was made that they wanted to make those columns look like they did when they was built. That was kind of
I mean, isn't this building like 120 years old or something? I mean,
1881, so that'd be 143 years old.
The problem
The
is
original
up
part.
on that top, that's terracotta tile.
I'm not worried about the bell tower. I'm talking about this building and whether
We're
we should
talking
be.
about this building, this structure.
Bell Tower is this building.
The terracotta tile, they wanted to put back to original, because the tile had historical value. This building has no historical value to the historical society anymore. So that's what Audubon's coming this spring to give an estimate, just to seal that all in with mortar, concrete, whatever, but not to restore it to the original. Because
But property committee, we've got $1 million allocated this year to go towards this courthouse. We need a plan, and we need to know what we can and can't do, and if we should even be putting that money into this building.
And that's what we're working on now,
Okay.
with the tour and everything. Trying to get a list of what is recommended or not recommended to do. Which Carl has that list from Bill Smith.
But that's Bill Smith. I mean, do we want to go ahead then and have an engineer come in and tell us this is what needs to be done?
We've been saying this for a few months.
Is that what we're getting at?
I think we should.
Well, I'm not against having an engineer come in or an architect come in, but all Mr. Phillips is wanting to do with the ones in 2009 is just to update it and just put what we've done corrected and what needs to be done yet. And basically, he's talking about spending a whole week, I think the sum was $5,000, just to update that on paper. That wasn't going through and
No, Dan, that was them coming in. That was them coming in and evaluating.
they were coming in to evaluate, yes, but they were basically just gonna go off that old lifestyle. That's what he was saying in that meeting. I was sitting right next to him when he explained it. I mean,
Not what I heard, but
for $5,000, yeah, I mean, that's probably cheap for an architect for a week's work, if he's gonna give you a rundown. But some of that stuff's gonna be repetitious, like the bell tower, I mean, you know.
okay, well, this isn't on the agenda here, so, you guys, you want, it probably ought to be on your next, property committee agenda, and we can come back to that, since, because your insurance thing didn't end up being quite what we thought it was gonna be, so we need to come back to that, and take a look at it. So, all right, do you have anything else, Carl? Okay, thank you. All right, we have no need. Is there anything else under miscellaneous? There's big packets here from Mr. Tim Howard that he put together, that he wants everyone to take a look at. And members Murphy and member Barry are going to do a full analysis of that whole packet and give us a report at the next meeting. So, summary.
Thomas Jefferson first.
They better all read it in case we forget it.
If there's nothing else, I have a motion for adjournment. Moved by Kessel, second by Murphy. Roll call.
I can figure it like that.
Coomer,
Yes.
Murphy,
Yes.
Black,
Yeah.
Sloan,
Yeah.
Southwood, Spangler,
Yes.
Thompson, Williams, Barkley,
Yes.
Beck,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Heller, Heller,
Yes.
Kessel.
Yes.
You're adjourned.
And we have an official request.
Explain that. Skater there.